I was going to do a heavy episode of Viper coming in hot, but this one's just a standard unscripted. Let's go. This is take number I have no idea on this episode of Viper Unscripted. I was going to make this a coming in hot video where I pretty much just came in both barrels blasting and just let an article have it. It's not going to be that kind of show, boys and girls. What we have today is an article from Fusion. I know, my favorite lol farm producing lol cow after lol cow. The Problem with How Men Perceive Rape by Lux Alptron. Full summary of this is she basically went on a date with some guy she met through OkCupid. She felt zero chemistry with this individual. Sometime during the date, he talked about an ex-girlfriend who didn't give him a particular form of oral stimulation after he had made a long drive out to go see her. And despite multiple options and opportunities to leave the date safely without issue or duress, she chose that it would be better to have sex with him and that she would prefer to get drunk prior to doing so. This is very specific. This is not two people got drunk and wound up having sex they didn't intend to have at the start of the date. This is she acknowledged that she was going to have sex with this guy and that she was just going to have a couple of drinks prior to loosen up. And now she wants to call it dubious consent and claim that this form of sexual assault that she calls sexual bullying has effectively ruined her ability to interact in a private or semi-private situation with men, either personally or professionally. And it's crap. Full stop. Buck stops here. Punch your ticket, get off the train, you're done. This is it. I'm sorry. No. I've known 3 women in my life who, 2 of them, I would stake my life on the fact that they were assaulted. I really would. I saw both of them, in one case, about maybe 35 minutes after the fact. One probably 10. One was at a party, and one I had traveled across the city to go find after getting some very odd phone calls, and just things were not good. And I found her very disoriented and tried to get her to go to the hospital, and she wouldn't let me take her. Dubious consent is still consent. I'm sorry. If you don't really know and you just, oh, fine, I'll just deal with it, I'm sorry, that is consent. I'm sorry that you felt uncomfortable and didn't make this well known and just call a stop to it, because believe it or not, you do have that power. But if you're not going to stand up for yourself, why should anyone else? You're capable, unless you're going to tell me that you're not capable of saying no very sternly and of making a physical attempt to stop somebody from having unwanted intercourse with you. If you are crippled or in some way mentally handicapped, that is entirely different. But if you are of able body and you are of able mind, you can deny consent and say no. Will doing such a thing result in a violent offense? Probably. I shouldn't even say probably. It will in some cases. But in many, many, many more cases, it will trigger that no means no response, a very stern no. Hell, yell at them. Even if you can't physically fight back, scream no at them. Anyway, I don't want to go too much further past 5 minutes here. The article is The Problem with How Men Perceive Rape. The link will be in the description. This article is dangerous to women. the women who read it and believe this are going to go on in their lives and be confused about consent and think it's this wishy-washy thing. And it's only going to hurt them in the long run, and I don't want to see that. I've seen people that a woman I love, one I loved, and was very hurt, and she, not physical, but she bore emotional scars for as long as I knew her because of something that had happened years and years prior, and that's not okay. I never want to see that happen. I never want to have that happen to anybody else. It's a horrible fact of life that it will happen to people. But in those cases, I would say that it is imperative, if you take nothing else from this video, know that if you are assaulted by somebody, okay, you have responsibilities in your sexual life, and the government and the police have responsibilities as well. You have to uphold your end, and they will do everything they can to uphold theirs. You say no, you stand up for yourself, all right? In the absolute worst case scenario, well, unfortunately, somebody, it does result in deaths each year. In the next to worst case scenario, you may be physically assaulted. This applies to anyone of any gender because it does happen. This is a bipartisan gender issue. If you do not consent to sex, you make it very clear and you make sure they know that you do not consent. And unless you absolutely fear for your life legitimately and you have been given reason to, fight back. Whether that's screaming no, whether that's fucking bite the hell out of somebody, whether that's anything. You give somebody hell. And if you do that, I'm telling you right now, you do that and you go to the police after it happens, we're going to put people in jail who belong there. If you don't do this and you choose to teeter on this concept of dubious consent and you want to just make everything a gray area, women will be hurt. You will go on. People, I should keep saying people. I'm a terrible MRA. People will get hurt. People will go on the rest of their lives carrying a weight of the uncertain, of the unknown, not knowing if they could have helped themselves or if they could have stopped somebody or if they could have made a better choice. Stand for yourself, and I promise you, if you take that stand, we will stand behind you. There's nobody I know who would see a woman who's been assaulted, who's put up a fight for herself and lost, and who would then look at that woman and say, you know what, you're on your own. All right, I know a lot of great, country boys and girls out where I've moved to. Let me be the first to tell you, if something like that ever happened out this way, all right, God help the person who did it because the police wouldn't get to them in time. And I don't condone mob violence. I am just saying that if there was a very obvious incident and it was like, yeah, look, so-and-so's been beaten senseless and it's just come from so-and-so, and the evidence is there, oh my good God. Even if the police get to them on time, that's protective custody because you're gonna get ripped apart by a mob because people hate rapists. I'm done. That's it. If you don't report it, it can't be convicted. You can't get a conviction off of no report, and you can't get a conviction off of like years and years and years later with no evidence. It is exponentially harder as each ticking second goes by to get a conviction after the fact. Help yourself, help others who may be victimized after you if you don't step in. Help yourself, help others, and we will help you. I'm sorry for the heavy video, everyone. Have a good night. This has been JT Viper, Room Viper Unscripted. Well, we've come to the end of another video, one made possible by patrons and viewers like you. If you've enjoyed this or any of my other videos, consider supporting me on Patreon. Rewards start with monthly contributions as low as $1, with plenty of options to choose from as you go up the contribution tiers. Want to blow shit up with me in a patrons only World of Tanks platoon? There's a reward for that. Want to be the first to see my latest series videos and get exclusive access to Patreon only video series? There's a reward for that too. Feel like shooting the shit about recent events in a patrons only Google Hangout? There's a reward for that. There's even a reward that lets you dictate the topic for a new JT Viper video. So be sure to check me out at www.patreon.com/JTViper, or just click on the Patreon logo up here in the video. Go ahead, I'll give you a second. Are you clicking yet? No? One more second? Well, fine, I'll get you next time. If you can't afford to support me financially, and of course, even if you can, please be sure to leave a comment, a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel for more of your favorite Canadian reptile. Have a good one, everybody. And again, thank you for watching.